here in Vancouver, where the devil is bringing the heat to the TV screens this winter. We're going to give you some behind the scenes looks. But in a surprising twist, prosecutors dropped a bombshell, telling the court Cox admitted to having had inappropriate relationships with other students. And again, IMPD says all three victims are in stable condition tonight. Now, they have not released a description of that suspect, as this investigation is still in the very early stages. Now, on the flip side of this, there is a school nearby. We are told no juveniles were involved in this incident.
So much to see people like this on live TV. That is a prime example of Carve Day. When I tell you, you don't know what you're going to get. Totally wasn't expecting that, right?
Downtown Indy transformed today into the campaign headquarters for Donald Trump. Fox 59's James Girardi continues our team coverage tonight from the Conrad Hotel, where his campaign set up shop. A Hamilton County family truly hits the jackpot. They're taking home a historic Mega Millions win. I'm Tanae Howard, and tonight on Newspoint, a special town hall building a bridge between police and the community. Plus, it's a new treatment that's helping a local man out of a heroin addiction. And IPS is facing yet another lawsuit. But first tonight, an IMPD officer shoots a man who threatened suicide by cop earlier today on the city's south side. Metro Police say the man's mother called authorities for a welfare check. She later told an officer that her son was distraught and could try to provoke law enforcement to take his life. An officer found him on Manker Street, where he charged at that officer and refused commands to stop. The officer fired one shot and hit the man. A counselor we spoke to says suicide by cop is not common, but unfortunately this does happen. And the man was taken to Eskenazi Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. That officer is on leave while IMPD does an internal investigation. That is standard procedure. The IMPD officer accused of shooting a fellow member of the department is expected back in Indianapolis tomorrow. Officer Adrian Scott Hours will have his extradition hearing in Cincinnati tomorrow morning. Hours is charged with attempted murder, accused of shooting IMPD Sergeant Robert Percy. This all happened during a domestic violence call from Hours' wife late Friday night. Court documents say Hours fired 3 shots, hitting Percy once in the elbow and back. Sergeant Percy is still in the hospital, but he is expected to be okay. Building a bridge between law enforcement and the community. Earlier tonight, we were a part of a digital town hall, a broadcast live on Facebook. The goal here was to get people talking with city leaders and others about what needs to change here in Indianapolis and how to be a part of the change. Fox 59 Joe Glavin was there helping to ask your questions. Well, tonight police are investigating whether a 17-year-old intentionally shot and killed her boyfriend. The teenager is accused of shooting 24-year-old Juan Lucio in the head at his Muncie home over the weekend. Lucio died at a hospital Sunday. Police are now investigating if this shooting was an accident or a murder. And over on the east side of Indianapolis, police investigating another deadly shooting. Investigators say Cintio Henry was found dead at his home near 38th and Sherman. Police say his girlfriend was the one who found him, but tonight there is still no word on a motive or a suspect. Muncie police officers were justified when they shot and killed Larry Stepp last month. Stepp was killed in June after police say he stabbed a 15-year-old girl, then refused to drop a knife. Multiple witnesses heard officers tell him to drop that weapon before shooting him 5 times. And jury selection continues in the trial of this man, Daniel Meso. He is accused of murdering IU student Hannah Wilson. Prosecutors say they have DNA evidence linking Meso to Hannah Wilson's death. The trial is set to begin once a jury is seated there in Brown County. 2 former IPS administrators now suing the district for firing them over their handling of sexual abuse allegations involving a counselor. The board voted unanimously in June to fire Longfellow Assistant Principal Bill Jensen and Director of Student Services Deb Lesser. Now they're both claiming wrongful termination, saying IPS gave overly vague information to prove that they violated district policy. Tonight, the battle over EMT and medic raises in Lawrence finally comes to an end. The Common Council voted to that bump in pay for those emergency workers. A $2 per hour raise for the EMTs and medics was voted down by the council just last month, but they voted to approve that raise tonight. The fire chief says raises are needed because they're having trouble retaining EMTs and medics. The shortage forced the city to pull ambulances out of services on certain days. The newly approved increase is expected to help address those issues. All right, so here's how it breaks down. EMTs are going to go from $13.33 an hour to $15.33, while the paramedics' hourly rate is going to go from $15.64 to $17.64. While this is an improvement, it is still lower than that of paramedics in Indianapolis and Wayne Township. Less than 100 days until Election Day, and now the Indiana Republican Party has its ticket introduced for the governor's race. Eric Holcomb introduced State Auditor Suzanne Crouch as his running mate. Party leaders say Crouch brings experience from local and state government with a strong record. And the controversy continues tonight over Donald Trump's comments regarding the family of a fallen Muslim Army captain who gave a moving speech during last week's Democratic convention. Today, Senator John McCain sharply criticized Trump's remarks, and yesterday Governor Pence calling Captain Khan an American hero. Still, many are offended by Trump's lack of sensitivity, and Trump says the focus should be on fighting radical Islam. Well, Hamilton County won't be seeing expanded bus service anytime soon. The county decided not to move forward with the bus service from parts of Carmel to Fishers in Indianapolis. Marion County voters have the option in November to vote for expanded service and construction from Broad Ripple to the University of Indianapolis. But Hamilton County will no longer be a part of those plans. Well, can you believe it already? School is back and IPS is making some changes after some problematic bus inspections last school year. Now IPS has 100 new buses in their fleet, replacing a majority of the buses that failed the inspection in the past. This past spring, IPS was well below the state average for bus approval ratings. And this is pretty cool. The 100 new buses come with seat belts and some other neat safety features there. The Children's Museum of Indianapolis is receiving national praise for one of its newest exhibits. The National Public Radio Education Team listed the museum's Treasures of the Earth exhibit as one of the coolest, most interactive displays in the country. NPR says the exhibit earns the top 10 ranking because it is one that both kids and adults can enjoy. Danielle. We're seeing millions of dollars come into the city of Flint and truckloads of bottled water. But we wanted to get into the homes to see how are these families surviving from day to day off bottled water alone.
Good water. I take this same bottled water. I keep it on the stove to heat it up.
On the final day of our journey to Flint, Michigan, I went into the community I grew up in to see about my family and how they're surviving without clean water.
I start with brushing your teeth. It's hectic because you used to turning the water faucet on, doing your thing. Now you turn the water on, you're like, oh my God, you got to take your bottled water.
From brushing your teeth to washing dishes and cooking, the Mason family has come up with a system to make it during this water crisis.
We go through so many of these a day.
Although they have this free water filter the city distributed, they still don't want to chance it. So they're hauling in cases of bottled water from around the city and from the garage every day.
At least, I want to say 4 cases. Because we can't bathe in it. I don't wash my body in it at all. We are constantly heating water just to take a bird bath.
My aunt, Cherry Mason, started to notice a severe impact of Flint water shortly after the city switched to the Flint River for its water source.
I was washing my hair in this water. I have bald all around here. It's bald. I have bald spots in the top of my head.
Now they're looking for some clear answers to figure out when this nightmare will end. But until then, they'll take a stand on paying their water bill until clean water flows through this city.
Some say don't pay. Some say do pay. I don't really know what to do. So I'm going to take it upon myself, and I'm not going to pay anymore.
And many people have expressed their concerns about all of these plastic bottles, these families going through multiple cases of bottled water a day. Well, now local recycling companies have stepped up to donate those bins to those families so they can recycle properly. From Flint, Tanae Howard, Fox 17 News. Stay-at-home mom Catherine Campbell says life is good, 2 healthy children and a good marriage. But when the lights go out at night, that's when a major problem creeps in.
I used to have this really great sex drive. I used to be able to flirt, joke around. My husband and I just had a great sex life, is the best way to word it. And after my son was born, there was nothing.
Desperate to flip the switch in her body again, Catherine turned to the internet after her doctor said there was nothing he could do to help. That's when she discovered she might have hypoactive sexual desire disorder, and a new pill was in the works to help women with decreased sex drive. Now that pill has been approved and we're learning more about it. It's called Addyi and works nothing like Viagra for men.
The little pink pill is a medication that operates centrally in the brain to change neurotransmitters and increase desire in women who have a reduction in desire.
This pill is for women who don't suffer from depression, other medical conditions that could cause their libido to drop, or marital issues.
I am very much attracted to my husband. I want to have the desire to have sex with him. I just don't. And I felt helpless.
And the little pink pill is a major commitment.
Pretty much make a contract with their provider not to drink any alcohol at all.
No alcohol whatsoever, because that could lead to a drastic drop in blood pressure. The pill is taken daily, not just when you want to get in the mood. And the effects are modest, but Catherine says at this point, she is willing to do what it takes to bring the sexy back.
It would be going from like once every 2 months to once a month maybe, but it's amazing how that could work wonders in someone's life or their marriage or for their own confidence.